Hi, good day to all. Now, welcome to our Bettery Labs Doing It Better live chat. Today's edition, I would like to say that we are already halfway through our circuit breaker, and I think it's May 12th today. So I just realized that a lot of the other businesses have been given the permission to open up. Things like saloons and so on. So it's something that we can rejoice because we are one step closer to the end of circuit breaker, so long as there's no changes. Now, today itself, we're going to have the other half of Bettery Lab. Our today's guest will be Noor Iskandar. Now, he's the co-founder of Bettery Lab. The other half of Bettery Lab, the first half is myself. Now, we're going to have Noor Iskandar to come up and just a bit of himself. Now, Noor Iskandar was actually a regular in the Army, Armed Forces, an officer, a commissioned officer. And from there, he was actually then teacher. All right, he was teaching, and then subsequently he actually went into his journey towards entrepreneurship. Now, I'm not going to go to too much details, and we'll let Iskandar come up live and to share. Now, but before we move on, I just want to share that yes, I'm part of Bettery Lab. So today, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to ask certain questions, though I may know the answer, but ask those questions that have been asked to us, our viewers, and so on. So with that, let me just invite Iskandar up.
Hey.
Hello, Iskandar.
Hi.
Yeah, welcome to the live chat. I just introduced that you are the other half of Bettery Lab who have joined us for the chat today. So, Iskandar, how's it going?
Yeah, it's good staying at home, working from home, but kind of missed the outside work. Can't wait to go out there again.
Right. Okay, cool. I mean, the last few chats when we had with business owners, I mean, they have always been saying that, a lot of them are enjoying the circuit breaker. And I think the biggest challenge is how do you go into the normal working routine if we happen to have to start going out of our house to work. I think that will be a challenge. Now, Iskandar, I've already did a brief introduction of your journey, as a military officer, as a teacher, and then, your journey as an entrepreneur. So maybe, why don't you actually share with us, tell us about yourself, the business you are in, the journey with Bettery Lab itself.
I think it's, I think, like when you said, I started off as a civil servant, right? In fact, about a good 16 years of it. First 10 years in the Army, and then another 6 years in MOE teaching, right? And I guess it's not just about the journey that I take, but also, how growing up my life, and in a way, I'm more right-sided with, and I enjoy subjects things like political science, which I took in the university, history, right? And I'm not very mathematical in that sense. Ask my maths teachers in school, and they will tell you that I'm definitely not maths inclined. Right? But that said, when I joined the Army, right, and of course it's structured and all, as much as I enjoy the military life, right, there's this thing like what can I do, within this structure, how can I always do things differently and so on. When my bond ended in the Army, I resigned, and then I joined MOE, right? It's the same thing, it's the same spirit that I bring in when I joined MOE as well, right? When I was teaching in National Junior College, it's the same thing. I thank my previous bosses who always give me the freedom and the opportunity to try new things in NJC as well as in Victoria School. Both my HODs were wonderful at that time, right? But I kind of grow hungrier, right? And in 2014, I did my master's in innovation, and I realized that when I spoke to entrepreneurs, CEOs like from Chope, and then when I went overseas to Boston, then I realized that hey, the world is so much bigger, right? And I have this curiosity on how I can always do things better, right? And how I can and apply myself in every way I can. So after I left, when I left civil service in 2015, right, I did my own startup, right? I have a personal mission, which I share a bit more later. But there was a more degree of failures than success, right? And after that, from my own startup, I started to do some consulting job, right? I started startups for university, Australian university, and I also did consulting work for a Swiss business school, like working with large banks in Singapore as well as a huge financial agency, and all the while is like applying myself. And it's like, hey, how do I help business transform, the MNCs and so on structurally as well as through people. And that's where we started working together, right? And
Yes.
and then we asked the big question. It's like, hey, instead of helping others, right, why do we help ourselves and start our own company? And I guess it's always been in me that I always want to do things better. So remember when we were choosing the name of our new company, right? The word Bettery, comes naturally, right? So why Battery Lab? Because battery comes from the better, striving to do better always. And lab is because through my journeys, I realized that there's no perfect answer, right? There is the need to have this spirit of experimentation, try, and of course, when you experiment, it means you fail, right? And I've met more failures than success, right? So the lab is to emphasize that life is a journey. There is always failures, right? You need always to experiment, and hopefully by offering Battery Lab, we can offer businesses and people we work with, right, the environment and the culture and the ecosystem that will help them to try new things to better their businesses and themselves in a safe environment.
Yeah, Iskandar, I think one of the most key or important message within the first 6 minutes was, why Battery Lab? Because this is a question that we've been bombarded many a times. When I go out there, I mean, whether we are together or, whether we are out or individually, the first question is, why Battery Lab? And most of them mistook it to be battery as in BATTR, energy, battery, cell. But actually it is about it bettering ourselves, and that is where Battery Lab came about. Just a bit of so-called a bit of our past for those of you who do not know. Now, when I was a military officer, I actually handed over my company to Iskandar, and we happen to have the same call sign, Sabertooth. That's where it started. But never did I ever, or I'm sure Iskandar as well, never thought that we will ever start a business venture together, come up together.
Yeah, man. Small world.
Yeah, small world. And of course, as most of you know, I have my own initiatives where, AC Fact PR. So when I started that is where we had a chat, and Iskandar came forward to say, there are some things that we can work together. I can help you out. And that's how we started. We reconnected after a long time. And that's how it started, and we had this similar purpose and similar mission, which I think Iskandar will be sharing, where we wanted to do things better. We were open to failures, and then we wanted to consistently help others to do it better as well. I think this was the common ground that we had at the point of time, and we decided to move on.
I think if I were to just add to that, I guess our military background also helps, because we know that the moment we start, planning is one thing. You can have the perfect plan, right? But the moment you execute, there are like thousands and one ways that things gonna fail. And the mentality is that, look, I'm not set myself up for always, perfecting or success, right? But I'm always improving as I go along to increase my chances of success, right? It's a simple mission, when we're doing in the military or even in a business deal, right? A business proposal, we always start with a sense of a mission, right? And then execute it. And along the way, we just improvise.
Yes, always, improvise, and that is where in today's business context, we are talking about being innovative and so on. I think this is something that has been already drilled into us during our military days. Now, it's kind of just a bit on, the most interesting part is that you were in the civil service, you were a military officer. Then, you teacher or educator, I will say, or you prefer to be called, and then, why? After going through all these things, why you want to become a business owner? What was your mission? What was the reason? Because as we all know, when you become a business owner or entrepreneur, there is a very high level of risk involved. So with a stable job, and what was the reason? What was the mission and the reason behind it?
So there's something. It is a bit personal, and I would like to acknowledge some of my colleagues and those who inspired me along the way. And it doesn't always have to be our seniors and so on. Actually, one of the reason why my first startup was actually an edutech, right? And the mission was actually to help students and children or young people who are not academically inclined, but that doesn't mean that doesn't have the God's gift to make a difference to the world. I give an example. I was a teacher in charge of hockey, right? And one day when I was sitting down, and I was looking at the B division hockey captain, and I taught him in class. I taught him history and so on, and I thought like, okay, here's here's Marcus. He's gonna do something to this one boy who's coming, right, to trying out hockey, right? And I was watching and ready to intervene should something not like something good will happen. To my absolute surprise is that Marcus, who has he can be tough on the pitch, right? He went to the young boy and he set up the cone and says, "Here, let me teach you how to play." And I was so amazed, and here I am thinking that he may not be doing well in my history class and so on, right? But here he is so gifted as a leader. He is so gifted as a coach, and a peer coach and so on. And why do we, cut people off? Just don't give enough opportunity just because they're not academically inclined. I mean, but now actually Marcus is doing very well. Not and people just take longer to bloom, especially boys. But that's it. I was inspired. So when I eventually left civil service and I decided that, look, I taught in the classroom, and I think it's more important that I should, do something outside of the classroom to give opportunities to those who are not academically inclined, a platform to showcase their talent and to do well. So that was my initial mission, and I set up a company, and created something not necessarily successful, but that's it. As I move on, and I realized that there are many other opportunities, I need to get back to that. When I was starting up, here's the second mission, and in which I like to emphasize. My first mission, of course, to give a platform to students who are not academically inclined, a platform for them to excel. The second one, which is also personal experience, my own journey, is that when I applied for grants, when I applied for help, support, and so on, I realized that the entrepreneurial landscape in Singapore, is a bit more that favors more on the young ones, the young entrepreneurs. Right? We are set up to be like that, right? We are always looking for the next, the next unicorn or whatsoever, among the young, right? But as as an entrepreneur with family, entrepreneur mid-career and so on, but I realize there's less help. But if you think about it, right, the risk taken by the older entrepreneurs are a lot more, right? They need more help, and I feel that now Bettery Lab is in a position, and we can help these entrepreneurs. I am always on the lookout for for entrepreneurs, businesses who were like me when we started out, when I started out, right, who needed help. And I think Bettery Lab is, one of our Bettery Lab's missions is actually to help this group of people. I think what is important that in my journey, what I find is that we all take different paths, right? But more importantly is that wherever you are, I mean, I've been a military officer, right? I took out different appointments. I've been a teacher, right? Teaching, I was fortunate and privileged to teach, well, intelligent students. I also have taught normal tech students and so on. And I learned from my students, I learned from my colleagues, I learned from my bosses, and I've also learned from my failures. And I think that it is important, everything that we do actually will lead to our current situation. And it's important that we ask ourselves, what have I learned so far? What can I apply? Right? Whether in business or whether how we work with people. Right. So, if there's a chance anybody who speaks to me, I realize that I'm more than willing to share my experiences. Right. Especially the failure part. Right. There's no shame in sharing the failure, but I'm not gonna glorify my journey. There's really nothing to glorify. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's interesting that, every business owner, wants to be successful. I mean, nobody starts a business not wanting to be successful. And it's interesting to start a business to make other business owners successful. Now, I think that is something that I always felt was, I wouldn't say just interesting, but it's very unique of any business to be able to influence and help other businesses.
Sorry, I just realized that I'm reading the questions just now on the screen. Maybe I got a bit distracted. What made me want to become a business owner? It's not about owning a business. Is to me, my real kick and my real excitement is solving problems. And whether I tried solving problems in the military. Yeah, it was fun after a while, right? I solved problems in the classroom, but if because I was so fortunate to teach in good schools, then after a while, it's like my biggest problem is to get how many A's and so on. That's no longer exciting, right? So when I did my masters, right, the masters of science in innovation and so on, and I was exposed to a lot more problems and look at problems in a very structured and innovative way and so on, right? And I realized that hey, there's a lot of opportunity and what was we thought to be unsolvable is actually quite exciting to solve, right? So business problems in design thinking, right? We talk about stage one is like, understanding and then defining the problem statement. And I realized that a lot of business owners, even for myself in retrospect, is that what I thought were problems actually were not problems at all. I got my business statement wrong, business problem statement wrong. And in the end, spending so much money, spending so much time solving, the wrong thing. So why do I want to become a business owner? Because I enjoy solving business problems, and I apply this to help other business owners.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Now, I'm just going to take a few minutes to say hello to, in fact, a lot of our viewers here. Hi, Sasi,
Hello, everyone.
Nora, hello, from me and Iskandar, Jackie, Khalil, Pesha, and Tana. Thank you so much. And for the rest of you guys who are viewing, now feel free to ask any questions to engage Iskandar on our Bettery Lab Facebook page, so that we can get him to answer more questions. I mean, Iskandar, being a ex-military officer, being an educator, loves to answer questions. So now he's coming on the context or the head of a business owner. All right, so feel free to engage him. Now with that, we'll move on. Now Iskandar, I got a question. So now that you told about this is for your mission, and these are the things that you want to do, being a business owner. Now, how does Bettery Lab, how does Bettery Lab do that? How can it make a difference to people out there? And how, or can I maybe ask you, how do you intend to do whatever you said with Bettery Lab?
You see, the thing is that maybe what people might be asking is like, is Bettery Lab a consulting company, a training company? What exactly do we do, right? You call us anything you want, right? The most important thing is that we help you to move along with your business, right? We are business progress facilitators, right? So where do you want to go next? We help you go there, right? That's one. Two is that when we wear our trainer's hat, for example, because there is something that you could learn from us, or we could partner our collaborators and so on and bring that knowledge to you, right? We believe that we do not just deliver content and tell you, hey, do this, do that, and so on, or read up this, watch that. But if you have the opportunity to actually experience our workshops, unfortunately, our webinar is a bit difficult, but if you had the live workshops and so on, you realize that one of the key things that we emphasize is experiential learning, right? So if you have a business problem, we're going to help you leave that business problem and leave the solution and try it, right? Experience, experiential learning. That's one. Two is that I believe all of us may experience the same event, right? You and I can sit in a room. You and I can go somewhere. You and I can talk to somebody. But each of us will take in different things because of the lenses that we wear, and our prior experiences will interpret differently, right? But what is important is that if we don't reflect what has happened, right, everything will just pass as an event. But if we reflect and then we ask, hey, what can I learn? There are many things that people talk like, what's the 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1, 3 things that you have learned, 2 things that you will apply, and 1 thing that you will pass on to other people, that kind of thing. Just apply any of these methods, right? And then it becomes like, okay, so how will I solve my next business problem that comes along based on something that I experienced today, right? So that's the thing. The different thing is that, Battery Lab helps you to, through experiential learning, right, through reflective, right, working in teams. Because when we organize our workshops and so on, we make sure that you don't work alone. You always have to work with somebody else. You have to work, get feedback, right? How do you digest that feedback, and how do you interpret, and so on? How do you react to it? Are you gonna get defensive, or are you gonna get okay, shit, what's next? Like, hey, that's good. I've never heard of it before, right? So what Battery Lab does is that as business progress facilitators, we see there are three areas that will help businesses. One is, how do you develop your people development, not just yourself as business owners, but every person that are involved in your business. It could be your staff, it could be, well, it could be even your spouse, that helps you to keep you sane, right? As much as I like to acknowledge my wife for helping me on this while and being the pillar of my support. Uh, the the other thing is, we look at what are the business capabilities that you need to enhance, right? It could be technology, but technology is just means to an end. It's not an end itself, right? It could be your process, your processes, and so on. It could be your business model itself, right? Your capabilities, right? And the last one, of course, your business networking. It is important that you recognize that we all, don't work alone, right?
Yep.
As much as, right, we want to build our companies to be so efficient, productive, and have a lot of capabilities, but realize that having a comparative advantage, that really good in something, working with another company that's really good in something, right? By collaborating, you can produce and offer a higher, much greater value. 1 + 1 = 3, and then you can create something much greater for your client. So these are the three things that we emphasize in Battery Lab, right? And recently, you and I know that we are setting up what we call a battery hub, right? In which we want to invite companies and to come to this hub and work in a collaborative ecosystem, right? But we'll speak more of it later. But what
Yeah.
is unique, like I said, what is unique about Battery Hub is, like, we are not just consultants, we are not just trainers, right? We are your business growth facilitators, and we are invested in your success, not just your problem, right? It
So
is about you, not your problem.
So Iskandar, so you are saying that when we are talking about business progress facilitators, you are talking about three components or three key pillars, which is the people development. Because I personally believe that no matter how big a business is, it's the people behind any business that makes it happen.
Yep.
I strongly believe that. That's the key. And so I think the people development is definitely a key pillar. The second one is the processes itself, the business processes, and the third one is, or I will say, the capabilities for the companies. And the third one, of course, is what you are saying is more towards the networking, where who you get to know, whether it's other business owners, your potential
Yeah.
clients, potential investors, and so on. So these are the key three pillars that Battery Lab actually focuses. So now that we're talking about this, and now with the current COVID-19 situation, COVID-19 situation, businesses have their own challenges. In fact, we are very clear that businesses have been trying to stabilize, to get the relevant support, and they have been getting receiving quite a fair bit of, or I think quite a lot of support from all the grants and so on. Now, what do you think business owners can expect, when they want to work or they decide to work with Battery Lab? Now that we have these three key pillars, what do you expect, or what can they expect?
I think what they can expect, what Battery Lab can do for them is that to look ahead, basically, right? It's so cliche right now, and everybody says that, oh, we won't go back to back to normal. It will be the new normal, and we heard of it. But does it exactly mean, right? So if any business owner sit down and think that, okay, I used to do it this way, right? And during this period, I need to do it in another way, right? Is this new way sustainable, right?
Mm.
Or do I have to basically have a hybrid, right? Because I can't expect, as a brick and mortar business, which provide certain service or certain product, right? I go online. There is a certain problem when you go online, which is
Mm.
because of the nature of the marketplace online and so on. right? The tendency is the prices online tend to be cheaper, right? Can businesses actually afford to lower their prices, right? For the value that they are giving, So there's a lot of consideration. But when working with us, we help you to look ahead, and we will help you to transform different aspects of your business, right? So if you look at it, like there are three areas that you can innovate in your business. For example, you can innovate your processes, right? You can innovate your people, right? You can innovate, improve on your people, right? And what you offer, customer experience, product and services, right? Um, in many ways. So what we'll do is, to have a chat with you, and then we'll help you to identify exactly where do you want to go, right? And we're gonna help lay out the options for you, right? These are the places that, these are the ways for you to reach Rome, right? Which path do you want to take? And help you to evaluate what are the risks and what are the options you have. Like, for example, um, what kind of technology you need to apply or adopt, right? What kind of training you might need for your people. Because I realized that, I work with companies and without naming the big companies that I work and consulted for, it's one thing to introduce high-end tech, millions of dollars of tech. But when you unpack down the different levels, right, from the C minus one, C minus two, senior managers, and we go down all the way down to the rank and file in the front service. Every time the same thing is unpacked, people have different interpretation. So you have two problems: one, communication; two, mindset. Are they ready? Are they ready to actually change, right? The way the business needs to go, right? And if you are a business owner, if you are a CEO, if you're the C minus one and so on, right? Oh, it's very easy because you are trained to think that way. But how do you actually communicate that to your rank and file? How do you communicate that to your staff? How do you prepare them to change the way they do things? Because the challenge is not in the tech, the challenge may not be in the processes. It could be as simple as someone who's been using Microsoft Excel for the last 20 years. Microsoft Excel, actually Excel lasts that long, right? And then suddenly you ask you to use an automation, right? Automated financing system and so on. And the person's like, you know, and because this person is doing it for the first time on new things, right? He or she will take 20 minutes. But if the person has been doing it the old way, the way they've been doing, he or she may only take probably 2-3 minutes, right? So are you training them, setting yourself and your people up for success, or are you actually sabotaging yourself by introducing things that people are not prepared for, both mentally and skill wise, right? So you see, these are the things that um, a lot of people tend to forget. And have a chat with us, have a chat with me, right? Recently somebody just asked a simple problem. It's like, hey, how do I decide which one of my revenue stream? And that kind of thing. Then I realized the revenue stream is not your problem. Your problem is what are the things you need to invest to open up all those revenue streams, right? In order for you to decide which is best, right? So that, yeah, give me a problem. It's easier for me to
But
contextualize.
I think one of the biggest challenges sometimes, especially for business owners, it's more of, first of all, identifying the problem.
Yeah,
Sometimes we tend to jump to get solutions, or we are too eager to get solutions for a problem that we perceive that, yeah, this is my problem. We decide that this is the problem too quick, and we straight away start finding for solutions. And I think, what are your thoughts into making sure that you are very clear in depth of what the actual problems you are solving, and
okay.
prioritizing those problems that you need to solve?
One thing, a lot of people who wants to help businesses actually are not helping to analyze the problems properly, because they have a solution or a product or service that they are already fallen in love with, and they do their very best to fit the problem into the solution, which is really prepared, right? That was what I encountered when I started my own startup, right? And I was very unhappy with a business advisor that I spoken to, right? And because it's like, hey, look, you're not really addressing my questions, right? This is my question, but you seems to be pushing me towards a certain service that is available. So I think when we say we invest in you, it's not just trying to understand your problems, also, but you know, um, how should I put this? Uh, what is important is that you will get what you need, right? Whether it's to identify your problems, right? Lay out a certain, an array of possible solution, risk involved, right? What maybe even a cost analysis, right? Time frame and so on. I think what they can expect when working with Bettery Lab is that they get a N+1 member that who is equally invested in helping them succeed.
Okay, I got a question on our chat. One of our viewers is asking. Okay, quite an interesting question. Anybody would ask. Now, is it costly? Now that Bettery Lab has so many services. We're talking about the 3 pillars, and we're talking about really looking into the niche analysis before even we jump to solutions and so on. So, is it costly to work with Bettery Lab? Normally the mindset is, hey, I work with a training company, a consultants. It's always about how much do I need to pay, especially during these kind of challenging times. So business owners will be worried about how much do I need to invest. So yes, Iskandar.
I think the definition of cost has to be more precise here, right? If you're asking in dollars and cents, I want to put that aside first. Right. First of all, you need to understand what kind of value we can offer, right? And I think I'm being quite clear about what we can and we will do well. The second thing is if it's costly in terms of your time, maybe because if I were to invest my time, I expect you to invest as much time with me, right, in understanding your problems, as we work out a solution, right? So costly in terms of commitment, yes, we must be equally committed, But of course, there are business owners says, hey, I want to outsource this. Then we can be clear about that, right? But costly in terms of normally when you pay for a consultant, right, you're paying for a consultant to look into a problem, right? So you're paying to solve a problem or a series of problems or a one scope. When you do the scoping at the start of a project, right? You do the interview, you do your project scope and so on, and then you said, okay, this is a scope. Anything that we want to do outside of the scope, we're going to charge you more and so on, right? Now, if you work with Bettery Lab, right, is it costly? Are we going to do something like that? The answer is not a straightforward yes, neither is a straightforward no, because when we do that, we want to work in an ecosystem where, right, let's, like I said, there are 3 pillars that we believe in. So you may come to us with a people problem, a HR problem, right? Or maybe a tech problem. It's like, I want to introduce new technology because I want to automate, right, my financing system or my POS system whatsoever, right? We look at it and says, okay, I'll help you to solve this. But at the same time, it's like, hey, look, you need to prepare your guys for training as well, right? So we help you to train, your people to adopt the technology. But as they adopt, they are still resistant because their mindset is like, why should I continue to do this? Right?
Yes.
So when you engage Bettery Lab, and in this case, I'm describing Bettery Hub, in fact, right? You are not paying per problem, right? The model that we offer in this case is that you join us as part of our in Bettery Hub, you join us as part of our member, right? As a yearly subscription, and it opens up you to, consulting, having us to help you to do consultation work. You also have access to training, right, and so on. So, okay, I'm not just going to push that whatever we are doing, but more importantly is that you get, what I'm trying to say here is that you get a holistic solution at one price.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I.
Okay, so it's quite interesting because you are talking about holistic solution now, and you mentioned Bettery Hub. All right, and I think it's good. Though you don't want to elaborate the initial start, but I think it's important that we maybe let our viewers know more, because I think now this is what I feel. If I have resources, and the resources includes resources in terms of cash and where I need to put those available resources, I rather put it in the right place. All right, so it's sometimes not about how much, but it's about, do I put it in the right place to gain the highest value, or where would it be the best place for me to place my resources to get the best value. So now that you mentioned about Bettery Hub, I think it'll be good. I think even our live chat started with the initiative as part of Bettery Hub. So maybe you want to talk more or elaborate more in terms of what is Bettery Hub, and followed by and what's special about it that maybe business owners can get excited about.
Well, I think you are the better person to actually give the full.
No, but because I'm given a very important role.
I'll try to do what you can do better, right? A Battery Hub was actually designed to provide a holistic, support for business owners, right? And when we say holistic support, because we base it on the 3 pillars of people development, right? Capabilities enhancements, as well as and business networking. But so when you join Battery Hub, right, basically you're subscribing to this holistic system, holistic support, where you can have access to online learning, webinars, and I think we have something like 18 modules, right, which will be done at least 2 or 3 runs a year, right? 18 modules that covers about business innovation, business model, or basically covers the 3 pillars, right? In people development, so you have things like communication module, sales module, negotiation modules, mindset modules, right? When you go to business capabilities enhancements, you talk about business innovation modules, finance, IT and security, and many others, right? And then when you go to the networking, right, there's an opportunity for you to go and join what I would describe as a crowdsourcing for solutions. So you can come in and then you say, okay, don't pitch your business, pitch your business problems, and then everybody in the room actually listens to it, and then kind of like make suggestions like, okay, that sounds interesting. I may be a different industry, but if would you consider doing it in this way, so that people can actually learn not just from people in the same industry, but often business owners are their problems actually can be found in another industry, right? So by having this whole ecosystem, we are trying to break this mindset that, oh, I have to do things alone, right? Oh, I'm alone doing my business, right? And we always say that entrepreneurship is very lonely.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that it should not be a problem when you are part of Battery Hub, right? You need someone to talk to, you need somebody to bounce off ideas, you need somebody to validate your idea. There's always opportunity for you to do that, right? Even as simple things as the emotional support, right? When you face a business challenge, right? And maybe even collaborate and join and create a new entity altogether, right? Maybe you have one entity that does this, another entity, and realize that, hey, if you come together and create a new amalgamated company, you actually offer a much higher, greater value that not only makes a lot of difference, but you probably can charge higher price.
Yeah.
Right.
And interestingly, sorry to disrupt you,
Yeah.
but interestingly, I think Bettery Lab formed up because we have 2 of us coming together, complementing in different areas.
Yeah.
So I think that's one example. Before we move on, the other thing is that it's quite interesting. Crowdsourcing. Now, that's an experience that we can say definitely, because when we were working as the program partners for or with Malay Chambers, we work with 40 over businesses. And I think that was one example. I think a lot of these business owners are actually listening to us in our chat. I think we actually worked with them. And I think that was one example of how this was actually used before Bettery Hub itself. A clear example of why when business owners comes together, I think there's a very high chance that, there'll be a lot of sharing and all these things. Yeah, sorry to disturb you as we were going on.
So remember one of my my personal vision and personal mission, right, is actually to help business owners who maybe the older ones, right? Who maybe got retrenched or maybe left the comforts of a 9 to 5 job, right? And decided that, hey, I have a value and I have, which I want to offer in my own business. But how do I start, right? Where can I get support? Who can I talk to, right? Is there like a, where can I find my first, my first client and so on, right? So by coming on board and joining us and so on, right, and in part of the Bettery Hub, right, you can come in and have a trial and have a sense of how this works, and when you find your first gig or you find your first client and so on, right, I think that's where the push that you need, the lifeline, right? So I think what is important is that we are not offering just support, but probably hope, you know, the ability for new entrepreneurs to succeed, whether new or old, it doesn't matter, right?
So at the current climate that we have now, where businesses, they have already stabilized, they are, they made sure that, their businesses stabilized. Do you think it's a good platform when they decide a Bettery Hub is a place for them to think about, now about transformation and growth in the next upcoming phase itself? Do you think it's a good platform? Because interestingly, if you're saying that it is, sorry, it's going to be two questions. But I think the first part, is it a good platform? And the second one is, very interestingly, it is a subscription model, which means it's not going to be a one-off thing. It is going to be a continuous engagements where they can actually, like what you say, they have online courses and so on. So yeah. First, so maybe you can touch on that.
First of all, in Bettery Hub, right, when you come on board, you know that you can bounce off ideas, right? So instead of just immediately say, oh, I want to transform my business in a certain way, throw money, get a consultant, go in depth and so on. What you want to do is get your ideas validated, right? You want to try out, right? We talk about fail fast, fail safe, right? Before you start throwing your money, right? And in Bettery Hub, we can, we can, because we can have a webinar session on what is about lean methodology, right? So, you come in, you do an agile, you test, and then if it doesn't work, then discard and then try and iterate and so on. So I think what is important is that when you come to Bettery Hub, you talk to other people and you talk to us, you can test out and get your ideas validated first, right? Secondly, is that because it is a community, and so on, you can also find someone who you can at least trust to work with, right? Sometimes it's important, we want to engage people who we can create long-term partnership, right? So, and sometimes looking for partners, we also want to ensure that we know who they are they trustworthy, right? What's their business record like? I'm not saying that, automatically everybody in Bettery Hub will be the best option, but what I'm saying is that at least as members of a responsible business community and ecosystem, right? There's a higher credibility, right? Have I answered your question?
Yes. And the second part, the first question was answered. Now the second part is you were saying that it's a subscription model, which means business owners can expect that there will be activities where they can actually go in, or though I know the answer, but my job is to specifically get the details out for the rest of the people who wants this answer.
So when you subscribe, you subscribe, you get our time, you get our commitment, right? You get to meet. So we, like I said earlier, you get to benefit, you from the three pillars that I spoke about, right? So you get from the people development, there are online courses and so on that will help you to train not just yourself but also your staff, right? You can also have capabilities development where you can actually learn from experts, right? We are bringing collaborators, we bring in the technology people, finance people, the I don't know who else we can bring in. You ask and you get lah. That's as simple as that, right? Think of it as a club, as an ecosystem. And last but not least, at networking. When I say subscription is definitely you will get, but the thing is, we were considering, at this point of time, whether do you want everything or do you want some of it and so on. So right now we're still doing market survey and so on, and we hope that those who actually have the survey questions do help us fill it up, so we have a greater sense of what do you need, right? And right now, we, maybe not today, but sooner than later, we'll roll out more of the about Bettery Hub lah. At this point of time, Bettery Lab is still committed to help business owners, to help you, as your business growth facilitators, and take a look at what are your challenges that you are facing right now, focusing on business transformation, right, for the future, right. More importantly, I think the message here is that, look, the hub is important because we want to talk about stability of growth, support system, and so on. But more importantly, also, I think at this point of time, we need to start thinking, how exactly you want to go ahead, right? Bettery Hub may be for Bettery Lab today, but in future, maybe you want to do something else and so on. Right? Constantly thinking ahead, improving and understanding the behavior and the needs today. How will it shape your business for tomorrow, right? For home-based businesses, bakers and so on, right? What does, how do you define your business model today, right? To be less vulnerable to legislation, to, things like health pandemics and so on, right? In future, how do you future-proof yourself? That could be and should be the theme of transformation, after this COVID-19 or during this COVID-19 period.
All right.
Right.
So there's one more question that I would like to maybe you can answer, Iskandar. Is that, are there any specific business owners that Bettery Lab has helped so far? I think this is a question that is asked by one of the viewers as well. So are there specific business owners, or are there people, companies who have already subscribed for Bettery Hub at this moment?
There are those. There's a few that actually express their interest to subscribe, right? But we told them to hold their horses, because at this point of time, we just want to make sure that whatever we roll out, it doesn't just cater to just the group of them, but also to more people, right? Have we any specific business owners? I will not name the company, but I can name the industry, right? So we have helped a cloud company, right? A cloud company that needed leadership training. The same cloud company also needed not just for their local leaders, but their overseas leaders, right? We have helped small business owners, in terms of and entrepreneurs in terms of defining what is their value proposition, as well as their what do you call that, revenue stream, cost structure, right? We have we have helped businesses actually collaborate and says, hey, you need that, right? I know somebody who needs it. Come together, and then we happily matchmake them and say, you all carry on, right? So and we are, we have one or two big companies that are also asking for help, right? Asked to come in, right? Which I've spoken to you about, but so right now, to me, I've not forgotten, at least our mission, right? And when we started Bettery Lab, right, we did agree that, look, we will help those who are constantly trying to improve themselves, right? And my personal mission in this case is to help slightly older business, business owners and entrepreneurs, right, who have a lot to lose or a lot at stake and need help, right? And if you are one of them, please, call me, message us, drop us a message, and so on, right? And we are happy to have a chat, right? It's not about money all the time, right? Like I said, my kick is really, and it's like somebody called me like, hey, Iskandar, sorry, I haven't called you for a while, but I have a little problem. Do you have time? I said, yeah, sure, shoot. And when I was like, I have this problem, that problem, right? I was like, okay, let me put aside whatever I'm doing because this sounds more exciting,
So it's about consistently value adding, and to be there to help them in the different areas.
Yes.
That they help. Right.
I
So
think, I think it's important that, how we help is really to not just solve problem, but we want to enrich and we want to prepare. Right? I mean, this sounds very cliche again, but we basically is to help them improve their fishing rod. If they have no rod, we give them a rod. If they already have a rod, let's improve the quality of their rod. Right? Either bigger rod or bigger string, that kind of thing, so that they can do it better themselves.
Yeah, I think going back to the things, always consistent improvements, on the processes itself, where they see themselves being better from what they used to be and improve on the processes, as well as, making sure that while the company processes are improving or the businesses are improving, the people should be able to follow through and keep up those progress. I think that's key. Now, so now that we have a lot of viewers and they might be thinking, hey, okay, right, so what's so unique of your services? I know that Iskandar, you have said a lot. But if or how can our viewers engage? Not your services, but Bettery Lab services, in fact.
Come to our website, of course. Right. Our website will constantly improve. Today it will look like this. 2 weeks time it will look something like that. But don't worry how it looks. I think what is important is that you can see our website is betterylab.com with the E, right? Or you can call our company number, right, which is 8891-5342, right? And we'll pick up the call definitely, right? And drop a message, even WhatsApp. Anyway, if it's not answered because I'm probably on call or something, but what is important is that don't be shy, to share or to approach us, because we are more than ready to listen and share.
What about the 90 minutes consultation that that you were opening up to all of the business owners? I think some of them did benefit.
Thanks for reminding me. On our website, actually, it's like, I have one simple question. It's like, tell us what are your business wish lists, right? And then put down your number, put down your contact, and then I'll get back to you. And we will schedule a 90-minute consultation, right? You can share with us what you want, right? Can share with us your business plan and so on. And by default, all this we will practice non-disclosure, just to give you assurance, right? And if you want us to sign an NDA in advance, fine, right? Or you just speak to us and find out how we can help. So the 90 minutes, right? We are invested to listen to what your challenges are, right? And if in that 90 minutes you get what you need, and you're not gonna call us again, and so be it, lah. I'm happy to help you. All right.
Right. So yes. So for those of you who are looking, we have a 90 minutes window for you. Feel free, go to our website or call us at our company number. I think the key reason now, again, I would like to re-emphasize at this point. Now, this live chat did not turn into a marketing strategy where we came up and just here to brand and talk about Bettery Lab. I think the whole idea why this chat came about this live chat was specifically designed was because we have been having a lot of questions and suggestions by the companies that we've been talking to say, look, if you're doing these things, it's better that people out there knows the details of this. And that was one of the key reasons why we decided, yes, we need to be up here to make sure that, everyone have that information that they require. So, and yeah. So now, Iskandar, before we move on, any parting words for fellow entrepreneurs?
I'm not gonna go with the cliche about stuff. I want to share something a bit more personal. I think as leaders today, business owners, entrepreneurs, I think one of the qualities that we need is imagination. Right? The ability to imagine the solution that you will have in order to solve your business problem. It may not be entirely you can go outside in the ambience, the ambit of possibility, just imagine, what if I can do it this way? And then you realize that if you work towards it, you can, and probably come up with something innovative, something new, untested, that will give your company, your business, a huge competitive advantage, right? So don't be afraid to imagine, try, and even fail while you're trying and try again, right? And I think the second thing is that it is important that you find people that you can work and that complements you, right? I mean, Sakti didn't really emphasize this, but I just want to emphasize that Sakti and I work well together, not because of our military background or whatsoever. It's simply because he is good in something which I'm not, and I can do something that he doesn't want to do, or he's not comfortable doing, right? And likewise, whether you're finding partnerships or people you hire, right? I think it's important that you find, complements that you can support each other. Last but not least, this is of course this is where we back to a bit more cliche. It's like, don't just plan, don't just talk lah, do. How long did it take for us to actually say, hey, let's do this live chat, right? We were chatting one day and said, you know what, let's do it within this week.
Yeah, maybe I would like to just add on this part. Now it came all the way from military days and everything, but I think one of our core values is actually make it happen.
Yes.
We tend to decide that we want to do something, and the next thing we do is that we just do it on the ground. Of course, there's a lot of thought process behind that. Iskandar. That's why, as I said, I'm the guy who likes to let's do it. And Iskandar will be like, hey, wait, these are the details. But the thing is that once we decided, it's about having or doing the action plan, taking the first step to do it, and then consistently improving the process itself. So yes, it didn't take too long. In fact, we just decided let's do a live chat as part of Bettery Lab to let, it was meant to be for business owners by business owners. As one of the initiatives that Bettery Lab wanted to do. And I think the feedback was good, and it all started from let's do it. So yes, it took us quite fast.
And we did it because we saw the value that it can do to some of the people that we were helping at that point of time, right? And well, I am here today is because thanks to Sakti insisting that it's about time I show my face, and to be honest, I rather not. I'm very comfortable doing things in the back, in the background and the back end. But I decided that I agree with him. I think it's time that we actually share more about Bettery Lab and also some of the initiative. But we will, continue to provide value to those who wants to be on this live chat, right? For you to share your business ideals, share your business ideas, market yourself. And it's for business owners, by business owners like us.
Yes. So I think there's something that I would like to also re-emphasize as what Iskandar says. I think this live chat, it's for business owners by business owners. So, we really encourage business owners out there who feel that, come forward. All right. It's okay if you're not too comfortable being in the camera. We can always have a session where we can have a bit of rehearsals. No worries. It can be done. Now, the key thing is, come forward, talk to us, have a chat with us. So, we are more than happy, because we have decided that we're going to do it it was supposed to be Mondays and Thursdays. Then we realized that, Mondays may not be the best days. So let's work on Thursdays, 2 p.m. and Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Now, this is the date that we have decided to stick to. So feel free. As of now, the good news is that we already have our slots being booked for the next 2-3 weeks. So it's like, we have a lot of business owners coming forward. In fact, the next Thursday or the coming Thursday, we're going to have a very interesting guest. Is Colonel Darren, who's also an NS Army officer, as well as a business owner who's going to come up. So I'm quite excited as well. So we're having a lot of business owners coming forward to share. And I think that's what we want to be, Bettery Lab, Bettery Hub. It is about, the ownership of business owners coming together as a community to share, to grow together. And I think now with the current standing of things happening, we realize that collaborating is actually brings us further compared to just seeing each other as competitors or, So I think that is the key focus that we have. So feel free. Yes. Anything else, Iskandar, before, we're going to say a big goodbye?
Drop us a message to our Bettery Labs Facebook. right?
Yes.
Website and so on. Yeah, reach out and we'll definitely get back to you.
All right. Now, thank you so much, Iskandar, for being here. I think it's always awesome. It took me a lot of persuasion skills to get you up there, but it worked. Thank you so much for being here, because everybody sees me day in, day out, week in, week out, but I think not many sees you coming up there. So I think it's awesome. All right. With that, thank you so much. Hope to see you all on Thursday. As I said, we have a special guest will be joining us on Thursday at 2 p.m. So with that, thank you so much. Stay safe, and trust me, circuit breaker is coming to an end. Get excited. Start, planning for what's going to happen after that. With that, see you guys. Bye.